Hello, class. My name is Brennon Koryta, and I will be discussing the debate of capital punishment. According to the website deathpenaltyinfo.org, published on May 7th, 2020, four Californian counties rank in the top 9 American counties for most executions since 2013. Riverside, LA, Orange, and Kern County have a combined 56 total executions, while the other 5 have 43. 56 potentially innocent men were killed in our backyard. I believe the death penalty should be discontinued in the United States for 3 main reasons. These reasons being the number of false accusations, the role of motivating rather than deterring crime, and the inhumane way we kill and make a spectacle of someone's death. As of October 2015, 1,414 Americans have been sentenced to death since 1976. 156 individuals have been exonerated from death row after being proven innocent by DNA evidence, written by the authors of the article National Coalition to Abolish the Death Penalty. That ratio might not seem that significant, but that's 1 out of every 10 men being proven innocent. In my opinion, that number is very high, considering not a large portion of the criminal population is sentenced to death. One example of these false accusations stated by the article National Coalition to Abolish the Death Penalty belongs to a man by the name of Anthony Graves. Graves was sentenced to death in 1994 with 0 physical evidence in the murder of Bobby Davis, her daughter, and her 4 grandchildren. Graves' conviction was largely based on the testimony of actual suspect Robert Carter, who stated that Anthony Graves assisted him with the murders. Anthony Graves spent 18 years in prison, 16 of which were spent in solitary confinement. People are being sentenced to death solely based on the word of a guilty man, for any reason to help themselves. Another story by the same article belongs to a man by the name of Cameron Todd Willingham. He was accused of setting his house on fire, killing his 3 daughters. After fire experts found no evidence that the fire was started intentionally, the only evidence brought forward was from the testimony of Willingham's former inmate. He testified that Willingham confessed of the murders, but it was recanted later. While facing his final few minutes on earth, Willingham's last words were, "Please clear my name. I did not kill my children." That seems pretty convincing to me. He was killed an innocent man. The death penalty is not an effective way to deter further crime. As a matter of fact, the murder rates are higher in states that still use the death penalty. According to the website deathpenaltyinfo.org, murder rates in non-death penalty states are significantly lower than states that still practice it. The supporters of the death penalty will argue that criminals are threatened by the punishment, but it literally has the opposite effect, and it is proven by statistics. The website deathpenaltyinfo.org states that during the last 20 years, homicide rates in capital punishment states has been 48% to 100% to 101% higher than states without. To back this up, an article at amnesty.org explains it's a myth that individuals will commit less violent crimes if they know they will face punishment of execution. These criminals who are crazy enough to commit such violent crimes in the first place anticipate being caught. People like this don't believe they'll be caught, so they'll do whatever they want in the first place. The death penalty may even encourage some criminals to commit murder while committing less violent crimes like armed robbery. Crime rates are not lower with the death penalty. They are much higher with the help of the death penalty. When it comes to the execution part, every method is flawed and botches happen more than you think. A botched execution is when the process does not follow the intended course of action. According to deathpenaltyinfo.org, Since 1976 through 2018, 1,337 criminals were executed via lethal injection, which has the highest botch percentage of out of all methods. This is the most common and humane method, but some reports state that lots of inmates have prolonged execution times due to struggles finding adequate veins. One execution story from the website deathpenaltyinfo.org states, just in December 2016, Ronald Burt Smith Jr. was being executed via lethal injection. During his execution, it took him 15 minutes after the injection was administered to die. Witnesses stated he clenched his fists and raised his head during the procedure. Smith Jr. was pronounced dead 34 minutes after it began. This is fairly common amongst lethal injection executions. Inmates suffer because their veins can't be located, so they're being stabbed with a 14-gauge needle. When the injection finally is administered, they have so much adrenaline flowing through their body that it delays the effects. Since 1976, 163 inmates have been executed via electrocution. After reading about some botched lethal injection executions, electrocution begins to sound more consistent, but this method was ruled out because it was viewed as cruel and unusual punishment. Since 1976, 11 criminals have been executed from lethal gas, 3 from hanging, and 3 from the firing squad. All of these methods are torturous and inhumane. They all cause serious pain and damage to the bodies of those receiving the punishments. A story from the website deathpenaltyinfo.org says, in September 1995, Eliseo J. Mares suffered the second firing squad botched execution. 2 of the 4 bullets fired at Mares connected to his hip and abdominal area when he was supposed to be punctured in the heart. It was several minutes before Mares bled to death from this botched execution. There isn't a perfect story of someone being executed. It never goes as smoothly as anticipated, and people are suffering because of its imperfections. I believe the death penalty should be outlawed in the United States because of the consistency of false accusations, the fact that it does not deter crime, and because it's inhumane and painful. There are innocent men being killed in violent and painful manners. This needs to end, and it all starts with you. Thank you.